So here is our first question. With the advent of machines capable of looking inside the brain, fields as religion and biology have been brought together, as scientists try to dash what happens in the brain when people have a religious experience. The options for the first blank are disparate, congruent, sacrosanct. And the options for the blank 2 are understand, acquiesce and cogitate. Now, as per the strategy, the first thing that we are required to do after reading the question is to ignore the option words and find out what the question is all about. What does the question talk about? Or what is the subject or topic about which the question is stating or providing information? We need not read the option words here, as in GRE, options are a trap. They just add to the confusion if they are read at the earlier stage. It is only after understanding the context and the overall meaning of the question and taking cognizance of keywords, phrases, punctuation marks and connectors which provide a proper insight into the subject, and finally trying to come up with the predictions or your own answer for the blanks, that we need to look at the option words and match our predictions to find the real answer. Coming to this question, it can be analyzed that the first part of the question talks about the fields religion and biology, which have been brought together with the coming or the advent or the arrival of machines which have the capability or ability of looking inside the brain. The second part of the question, which comes after the comma, is regarding the scientists who try to dash what happens in the brain when people have a religious experience. Now that we have some idea about the subject or the topic or the context of the question, now without going to the options, let's come up with our own predictions for the blanks. If we take up the first blank, we have the construction as. We use as plus adjective or adverb plus as to make comparisons when the things we are comparing are equal in some way or the other. Here we are talking about the fields like religion and biology. So we can have fields as similar as or fields as different as religion and biology. But we have a clue word or a key indicator here, that is have been brought together. Here in this part, have been brought together acts as a clue. Something that is dissimilar or distant or far off can be brought together, but something that is similar cannot be brought together. So the word that we can guess for the blank can be as dissimilar as different as, or even as distant as. So our predictions for the first blank will be dissimilar, different or distant. Similarly, let's do the same for the second blank as well. First, let's read the part or clause after the comma. It says, as scientists try to dash what happens in the brain when people have a religious experience. The clue for the second blank is try to dash what happens. So our prediction for the second blank would be try to find out, or try to decipher, or try to fathom, or try to understand what happens. Now that we have predictions for both the blanks, let's move on to the option words and match our predicted answer choices with the actual options. First, let's look at the 3 option words for the first blank. The very first word is disparate. The word disparate is an adjective, which means something that is essentially different in kind and cannot be compared, or different in every way. Disparate things are clearly different from each other in quality or in type. As for example, the 2 cultures were so utterly disparate that she found it hard to adapt from one to another. Also, a disparate thing is made up of very different elements. As for example, a disparate nation is the one which has enormous religious differences. So, the word disparate means contrasting, contrary, unlike, different or dissimilar. Now, let's have a look at the second option word. And the second option word is congruent, which is also an adjective, and it means in agreement or in harmony. If one thing is congruent with another thing, they are similar or in agreement or fit together well, and both can exist well or can be combined without problems. For example, our goals are congruent, there is no conflict. So congruent basically means compatible, agreeing, corresponding, or even consistent. Now, the third and the last option word for the first blank is sacrosanct. The word sacrosanct is also an adjective, and it means too important and respected to be changed or criticized. If you describe something as sacrosanct, you consider it to be special and are unwilling to see it criticized or changed. It is so important that there cannot be any change or question about it. As for example, I am willing to help him on any weekday, but my weekends are sacrosanct. Also, the individual's right to work is considered sacrosanct. So, the word sacrosanct is specially used to describe a principle, place, or routine which is considered too important or valuable to be interfered with. It basically means something that is sacred, something that is respected, inviolable, or unimpeachable. Let's look at the all three option words. The very first word is disparate, which means different or dissimilar. The second is congruent, which means similar or agreeing. And the third is sacrosanct, which means holy or sacred. The option choice which matches with our predicted answer is disparate. So our correct answer for the first blank is disparate. Now let's move on and find out the answer for the second blank as well. First, look at the three option words for the second blank. The first word is understand. The word understand is a verb and it means to perceive the intended meaning of the word or the language of the speaker, or just to interpret or view something in a particular way. The second option word is acquiesce. The word acquiesce is also a verb. It means to accept or to agree or to give consent to something without really agreeing to it or wanting it, doing it reluctantly or without any protest or making any objections. For example, reluctantly she acquiesced to or in the plans. Sarah acquiesced to in his plans. So it means to permit, to agree to give one's consent to something. The next option word is cogitate. The word cogitate is also a verb and it means to think deeply about something, meditate or reflect. If you're cogitating, you're thinking deeply about something. So it basically means to think about something, contemplate, reflect, consider, give thought to, or even give consideration to. So of all the three option words, understand, which means to perceive or interpret, acquiesce, which means to agree or accept unwillingly, and cogitate, which means to think deeply about something, meditate or reflect. Understand matches with our predicted answer for the blank 2. So our answer for the second blank would be understand. So our final answers for both the blanks would be disparate and understand.